So is REIT a property investment, debt investment, or an equity investment? Here's what I think about REITs and why these three REITs are my favorite right now. Hi guys, Stanley here. I'm the co-founder of valueinvestasia.com, where we give you investment news and also in-depth analysis on listed company every single week. So if you're new to this channel, please remember to hit that subscribe button so you'll not miss out on any of our videos. And this video is sponsored by Syfe. Syfe is a MAS licensed robo-advisor in Singapore that provides a simple way for you to create a specialized portfolio directly on their platform. Syfe run a number of portfolios for different types of investors, including a REIT Plus portfolio that invests in some of the largest REITs in Singapore. If you're interested to find out more, remember to check them out at syfe.com. So, REIT or Real Estate Investment Trust is a pretty weird asset structure. On one end, it is an entity that only is supposed to invest in real estate, as the name suggests. It means that at the core, we are investing in physical properties when we invest in a REIT. But it is also a stock that is readily tradable on the stock market, like any other equity investment. Then all REITs must pay out an income as distribution, ensuring that investor will get a steady flow of income, like a debt investment. So is REIT a property or an equity or a debt investment? To me, I feel the closest asset class that is similar to a REIT is a convertible bond. Although the core asset that we are investing in are properties, the management of these properties are really out of our control. For example, if we are to invest in a property directly, we have control over how we want to beautify it, who we want to rent it out to, or when we want to sell it off. But in a REIT, we have none of this control, and thus, this adds an additional layer of risk to it. Then, a good thing about a REIT is that it does pay a consistent distribution. But unlike a bond, there is never a fixed payment schedule or a fixed amount that we'll get back over time. This makes it slightly riskier than investing in, say, a corporate bond. So with all these added risks, a REIT typically provides investors with a higher yield and a probability of capital gain as well if it is managed well. Therefore, REIT is an income instrument that gives us a probability of capital gain over the long term as well, very similar to a convertible bond. This means that when we invest in a REIT, we should not only be considering the yield that it is providing us at that moment in time, but we must also look into how stable that distribution will be over time. We cannot take for granted that the distribution will stay the same forever. Especially during this pandemic, we can see how badly some REITs can be affected with severe drop in property income, leading to a sharp drop in distribution as well. Generally, I don't really invest in REIT as I tend to look for more growth stocks. But when researching through the list of REITs listed in Singapore, there are indeed some REITs that are showing very strong resilience, and here are three that caught my eye currently. Number 1, Keppel DC REIT. Once a rather small and sleepy REIT, Keppel DC REIT has gained huge popularity over the years. Given the huge boom in cloud computing and the future of IoT, the demand for data center is increasing. Today, Keppel DC REIT owns about 3.1 billion worth of assets across 8 countries. And the REIT is still continuing its growth path, having recently just acquired a data center in Guangdong, China. Over the past 6 years since its IPO, the REIT has grown its property size by 19% a year. And the revenue has also improved around 33% a year over the same period. On top of that, the REIT enjoys a very healthy occupancy rate at 98%. As data centers are rented out to major technology companies, the payments are also quite secure with long-term agreements with these tenants. In fact, the weighted average lease expiry for this REIT is around 6.5 years, which is much longer than any other REIT in the market. At the moment, the REIT is offering a yield of 3.9%, which is in line with its long-term average yield of around 3.7%. So, like me, if you believe that the demand for data center will continue to grow over the next decade, then Keppel DC REIT is very well positioned to benefit from this long-term trend. This is definitely one I'm optimistic about. And number 2, Mapletree Commercial Trust. Mapletree Commercial Trust is one of the largest commercial REITs in Singapore. It owns the iconic Vivo City, the mega mall at the entrance of Sentosa, which is Singapore's tourism landmark. Today, the REIT has an asset size of about $8.7 billion. 36% of that is coming from the value of VivoCity. Apart from that, the REIT is mostly exposed to office commercial sector, owning buildings like Mapletree Business Centre 1 and 2. The REIT is also backed by one of the most prominent property groups in Singapore, the Mapletree Group, which owns about 32.6% of the REIT. Due to the huge property portfolio within Mapletree Group, Mapletree Commercial Trust does have a long-term prospect of properties that it could potentially acquire in the future. At the moment, the REIT has an occupancy rate of about 92.6%, and that seems to be improving as Singapore continues to open up. It has a wide diversity of tenants, with Google making up about 10% at the moment. As it is renting out commercial spaces, most of these tenancy agreements are shorter in nature. The REIT has a weighted average lease expiry of just 2.4 years. However, over the long term, management has indeed shown that they can grow this REIT rather consistently. Its revenue and profit are growing around 10% a year, and its distribution per unit also appreciate about 6% a year, which is very impressive. Mapletree Commercial Trust currently has a yield of 3.8%, that is still slightly below its long-term average of around 4.6% yield, but with the recovery from the pandemic and Mapletree Commercial Trust's long-term prospect, this yield still seems very attractive at the moment. Number 3. Ascendas REIT. Ascendas REIT is the largest industrial REIT in Singapore. It has about 16 billion worth of assets. It is also the most diversified REIT in this group, having more than 200 properties across Singapore, Australia, the US, and Europe. Ascendas REIT owns properties such as business spaces, logistic warehouse, industrial factories, and data centers within its portfolio. With so many properties, the REIT has also more than 1,500 tenants, and the top 10 customer only contributes about 19% to its monthly revenue. This is great as the REIT has very low customer concentration risk. Its occupancy rate though is slightly on the low side as well, just at 91.3%. As the economy around the world opens up, I hope that will improve in the future. Over its history, the REIT has shown that it can grow its distribution per unit at around 3.6% a year, and in the latest development, it has just handed over a business space in Singapore to the startup Grab to be used as its headquarters. Being part of the Capital Land Group, Ascendas REIT also has a good prospect when it comes to future development and acquisition. At the moment, the REIT is offering about a 4.8% yield, which is roughly the same as its long-term average yield of about 4.6%. I do feel that Ascendas REIT is one of the strongest and most well-managed REIT in the market. So this is definitely one I'll continue to watch. This is how I tend to analyze a REIT, and here are 3 that I'm definitely adding to my watch list. However, if you find it time-consuming or maybe just too complicated to analyze REIT one by one, our sponsor for this video, Scythe, provides a REIT Plus portfolio for you. The portfolio is modeled after SGX IH S-REIT Leader Index. The portfolio will invest in about 20 REITs in Singapore, including the 3 that we just talked about today. And what is cool is that Scythe does not have any minimum investment amount requirement. So it is a great platform if you're just looking to invest in a small amount at a regular interval. If you want to find out more about this REIT Plus portfolio and how to sign up for a free Scythe account, you can check it out at scythe.com. If you have gotten value from this video, I hope that you'll give us a like and share it with a friend who you think might benefit from it as well. If you're ready to take the next step into investing, you can also check out our free investing course at valueinvestasia.com/free course, where you can learn practical skills like reading a financial statement to how to value a stock. As always, that's it from me. My name is Stanley. Till we meet again, invest safely.